My name is Chelsea Dyer. I'm the manager of engagement here at the Chamber. I'm actually in my office this morning, which is a little bit different for the scramblers I've been doing lately. So as you know, you're muted as you join the call, and we just ask that you remain muted until we get to Q&A portions or the breakout room. We definitely encourage you to keep your video on the entire time. But during the program, we encourage you to use the speaker view, but you're welcome to also use the grid view if you prefer. If you haven't yet, please rename yourself with your full name and your organization or company, which is already, which is really great to just be able to already know who's on the call if you haven't done that yet. As you can probably see, the call is being recorded, and I'd like to now move to our recognition of sponsors. We're very grateful that we have such great supporters of programs like the Sunrise Scrambler, and our presenting sponsor this morning is Golden Plains Credit Union, and we have a short video that we'd like to play for all of you from Debbie Foster, Vice President of Community Relations.
To be here to be your presenting sponsor for Golden Plains Credit Union. And we have a couple of specials going on. We have our new Freedom 12 e-checking account, which is perfect for members who use their debit card regularly. So it's a free checking account, no minimum deposit, no monthly service charges. You'll receive 2% cash back on up to $600 in net monthly debit card purchases. You can earn up to $12 cash back per month, as well as ATM refunds of up to $12 when the monthly requirements are met. And the requirements are just 12 debit card transactions that post and clear, receive e-statements, and log into Golden Plains online. And just as testimonial, I guess, I switched to this new checking account, and I use my debit card like I hardly ever have cash, so I use it all the time, and I always get my $12 every month, and also I really like it, and I can attest to that. It's a great product if you use your debit card and you don't have the funds to keep a high balance for the Golden Rewards checking to earn the interest and all. So it's a great product. And also this quarter, we have boat and RV loan special with rates as low as 2.99% APY. So we invite you to come and check out these new products that we have, and hope that y'all enjoy the meeting today. Thank you. Have a great day.
Can everyone still see my screen? Can you give me nods? Okay. Did it freeze up halfway through? I am going to run it back. I apologize. You practiced twice, and the third time it freezes. So we are going to run it back one more time. I apologize for that inconvenience.
To be here to be your presenting sponsor for Golden Plains Credit Union. And we have a couple of specials going on. We have our new Freedom 12 e-checking account, which is perfect for members who use their debit card regularly. So it's a free checking account, no minimum deposit, no monthly service charges. You'll receive 2% cash back on up to $600 in net monthly debit card purchases. You can earn up to $12 cash back per month, as well as ATM refunds of up to $12 when the monthly requirements are met. And the requirements are just 12 debit card transactions that post and clear, receive e-statements, and log into Golden Plains online. And just as testimonial, I guess, I switched to this new checking account, and I use my debit card like I hardly ever have cash, so I use it all the time, and I always get my $12 every month. And so I really like it, and I can attest to that. It's a great product if you use your debit card and you don't have the funds to keep a high balance for the Golden Rewards checking to earn the interest and all. So it's a great product. And also this quarter, we have boat and RV loan specials with rates as low as 2.99% APY. So we invite you to come and check out these new products that we have, and hope that y'all enjoy the meeting today. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, thanks, Monica. It's a great thing about technology is when somebody can't be here, they can be here, but then also sometimes it doesn't always work, like Monica said, even after you practice. So we appreciate Golden Plains Credit Union, especially Debbie, for taking time to be able to put together that message and share it with all of you. Our Showcase Biz sponsor this morning is Burnell's Fine Jewelry and Design. They're not able to be here, but they have a great note, or an exciting note they wanted me to share with all of you. So Burnell's is excited to present for one day only the beauty and craftsmanship of bygone eras at their Singer Collection Estate Jewelry event. It's on Thursday, September 17th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the collection will fill most of their showcase space and feature over 700 rings, bracelets, necklaces, pins, brooches, earrings, and more. Precious and semi-precious gemstones set in gold and platinum, as well as pieces previously owned by celebrities such as Olivia Newton-John, Hugh Hefner, Elizabeth Taylor, B.B. King, and Elvis Presley. So if you want to find out more information about that event and to make your shopping reservation, you can visit burnells.com. So I think it sounds like a fun thing to do. So definitely check out their website, and we appreciate their support. Just two quick reminders about a couple of upcoming chamber-sponsored events. The first is that this Friday, August 21st, is the last day to enter the annual #WichitaFlag Summer Travel Contest. So be sure to get your entry in to be able to win some flag swag and to, of course, promote Wichita Pride. And then the second is that you do not want to miss our next Journey Unseen program. Whether you've been able to be a part of the first two, or if you haven't yet, you definitely don't want to miss this one. This is a virtual mentoring event that is new this year. And our September 1st guest is Kansas Market VP of Cox Communications, Colleen Jennison, and she'll be sharing about her unspoken path to leadership. So definitely check out our calendar of events to be able to register for that. So this morning, we are very excited to be joined by Malibu Creative, and we appreciate that they agreed to share their knowledge and insight with all of us today. I think you'll quickly see that they aren't just really smart about all of this stuff, but they are all very personally passionate about building connections with others and helping people and businesses share their stories. I've had the joy of working with the Malibu Creative team since soon after starting at the Chamber about 1.5 years ago. They've been the video partner for the Chamber's Small Business Awards and have created other video content for us in different programs as well. They all love Wichita, even if it didn't start out that way. But thanks to the Small Business Awards and the great small business community we have here in Wichita, it wasn't hard to win them over. So I'm sure Tim can share his story with you someday if you haven't heard it yet. So you'll find out more about Holland Kaiser, TJ Lawson, and Tim Fruits in just a little bit. But for now, please help me welcome them.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is TJ. I'm a part of the team here at Malibu. I'm so glad to be here with you. We just really do appreciate the Chamber and all that they do for helping to connect the community, to advocate for business, to see things thrive and grow here in Wichita. And if you haven't heard Tim's story, especially about coming from Malibu, California, and thinking Wichita was just going to be a short-term thing, you should definitely pull him aside sometime and ask him to share it with you about part of what made him fall in love with this community, which is true for me too. Like I actually grew up in Kentucky. That is my home. And so, which does mean I do still cheer for those Wildcats, and I want to apologize up front for that. But we love Wichita. Like, it's a place that our family kind of made the decision. We want to plant our flag here. This is where we want to raise our kids. This is the community that we really love being a part of. So Just so glad you're here. So we're going to talk this morning about how to kind of move away from just reacting to things and to begin to adapt to things. Because 2020 has been so weird. It's just not been what anybody expected. You know, when we made our New Year's resolutions, when we all sat down and said, what does the future going to have in store for us? None of us would have thought this. One of my favorite memes that's gone around on the internet has been, you know, everybody got the question, where do you think in 2015 of where do you see yourself in 5 years? Wrong. Like nobody saw it coming. And so it's been such an odd year. And the challenge is when you have a crisis like this is you react to it, which is the appropriate thing to do. You react and you deal with the crisis at hand. And so for some of us, it was when we went home for the shelter in place order. We got things organized at home. We got our dining room table set up. We got things so that we could work at home, especially having kids there with us, which was my case. Having littles in the house all of a sudden made things really challenging. But the challenge for some of us is we've stayed reacting and we've never really adapted to this. And in my own personal case, I know for a fact my home office still has a folding chair for the chair. Because that's what I had at hand. That's what I had at hand. That's what I had at the time. And I've just never really leaned into the fact that, hey, this is where we're at now. It's time for me to stop reacting and to really start adapting to the realities of where we're at. And adapting doesn't mean we like it. You know, many of us don't like the situation we're at, don't like how things are, but it is what it is. We've kind of reached the point where we have to pivot and to begin to embrace where we're at as a community, as a culture. And so by adapting and adjusting to the reality, it allows us to excel and to exceed our expectations for what we have currently. And so that's part of what we're going to talk about this morning is how not just to react to things anymore, but how to adapt and to excel. We've got some real practical tips for ways you can begin to change things. And so first up is going to be Holland. She's going to talk about how to do video calls well. We're all doing those way more than we thought we would. And there's all kinds of anxiety connected to that. We've also, Tim's then going to talk about how to kind of introduce yourself, how to tell your story, how to make a pitch in especially this context. Because all of a sudden we don't have the ability to go to the Sunrise Scrambler and to have those conversations and to bump into people. And so Tim's going to share that. And then I'm going to come back in and talk about how we can maximize virtual relationships. So that's kind of where we're going this morning. That's where we're headed. So first up is going to be Holland.
All right, hey everybody. So excited to be here this morning, and big thanks to TJ for the intro. Like you said, my name is Holland Kaiser. I am the project manager here at Malibu Creative. What that means is I get to work with clients and discover the story they want to tell, and then use website, videography, and social media to do that. So like TJ said, we are going to be talking today about how to adapt, not just react to our circumstances and the current work climate moving forward. So I counted, we're 5 months in to video calls, and so I'm not gonna pretend like anything, well, some of the things I'm gonna say today should be new to you, but I mean, video call tips have been almost done to death. We all kind of know the basics of, oh, it's good to buy this equipment, or make sure you have a clean background behind you. Any kind of those tips have been kind of said before. So today, in the interest of adapting, not reacting, we are gonna be discussing some tips that have been, tried and true that we feel bear repeating, but then also how to make the switch to video calls feel more intentional and ultimately give you more confidence in the platform. So jumping right in here, we are gonna have a Q&A at the end of my portion here. If you have questions while I'm going, feel free to drop them in the chat and I will answer them in just a couple minutes. So first things first, a couple of tips that you have probably already heard before, but that we feel still bear repeating are, number one, clean the lens of your webcam. You could use screen cleaner or a cloth to get rid of dust or thumbprints on your webcam. I had this experience where I didn't realize when I opened my laptop, my thumbprint was on the camera. And I was like, why is my camera so blurry? It can be as simple as taking a tissue and just wiping your camera off. It's something that would be so easy to overlook, but ultimately, there you go, perfect. John's already putting this into practice. I love it. I love it. So the second tip, another camera tip, is actually to raise your camera up. So this can be as simple as sitting your computer on a shoebox, which I know TJ has given me permission to tell his stories. I know that TJ has a shoebox for this purpose at his home office. Or I actually, a week into the working from home shift. I actually went online and ordered just a simple little folding laptop stand that got this job done. A laptop stand also, you know, can kind of kill two birds with one stone. If you have a really loud laptop fan, like I do, you can actually kind of combat that as well. The other Malibu guys you're going to see today can totally vouch that I would have to be on mute most of the time because my computer fan was always so loud. So raising your camera up using a box or a laptop stand brings the camera up to eye level. I'm standing at a standing desk right now, and that's a great way to do it as well. And the third one that we think you've heard before, but we're going to say again because it's important, is to turn your ceiling fan off. A lot of like environmental noise in a room can really distract from your voice, especially if you're using, you know, just like your internal microphone on your computer. So just make sure to turn your fan off, turn off anything else that could be auditorially, is that a word? Distracting on a video call. So a couple of things that will hopefully be new to you. And like I said, in the interest of building confidence around this new platform, we're going to share a couple of things that you should be able to start putting into practice, hopefully, you know, in your next video call. So my biggest advice with this is to start preparing, if you haven't already, prepare for video meetings as you would an in-person meeting. I think we all made the jump to video meetings as kind of a necessity, but at this point, it's almost becoming more normal, not only because we have to, but also because people are finding that it works for them in different ways, maybe that they didn't expect before. So a good way to make sure that you're adapting and being engaged and still feeling intentional with it is to just take a couple of steps to, like I said, prepare like you would for an in-person meeting. So I've got 5 things I'm gonna run over to kind of help you do that. So the first thing is making sure you look put together. I'm gonna call this clothing. So I think people have been generally more understanding and forgiving during this time when our typical office meeting culture has been essentially upended. But that doesn't always mean you can jump on a call in your pajamas because as much as that sounds like fun, it doesn't always look professional. So for example, like I said, TJ gave me permission to use his story, so I am milking it. I know that TJ has an ironed shirt on the back of his office store. He has said he likes having it there because then if he gets an impromptu video call, he can throw that shirt on, instantly looks put together, and you know, ready to go. So the second part of this is materials. So just like you would for an in-person meeting, print things off. You would email agendas. You would have links on your computer bookmarked, maybe a video you wanted to show pulled up. Take the time before a video meeting to have those things ready to go. During these calls, our computers are doing double duty, essentially. They're not only our portal into a meeting, but also we're still expected to use it for all those same things. You know, like even right now, I've got my notes pulled up right next to my camera. So just especially with the screen share capabilities, you know, with Zoom, we love using Zoom for that. Having things ready to go, just kind of take some of that stress away when you're using your computer for one thing and then suddenly have to close it out and go find this file. So just take the time like you would normally do before you walk into like a conference room meeting and just have those things ready to go on your computer. And so the third one is time. So just like you would show up early to a meeting to allow time for connection, you can still join a call link early. This is not only great for making sure your computer audio and camera are ready to go, because we know how clunky and embarrassing that can be sometimes, and it can cause a lot of stress when you know you're coming in right at the time of the start of a meeting and suddenly, oh no, my mic's not working. I've been there, believe me. And so having that time before, just like how you would come into a meeting early to make sure you're ready to go, you know, you've got your notes ready, you have time to engage with people you're talking to, it can ultimately make your video call feel more, you know, like a really intentional meeting. And know that looking engaged, this is number 4, looking engaged is still important with a video. So things like looking engaged with your facial expressions, just like how we know this in-person meeting etiquette, it's important to have those skills kind of transfer to a video call. So even, you know, eye contact, we're learning a lot that right now, especially when you wear a mask, that your eyes can still give a lot of emotion. So even if you are, you know, making eye contact with the camera, it's the same kind of in-person etiquette, I feel, totally applies to a video call. Another way to stay engaged too is just because your computer's in front of you, sometimes that makes it really, really easy to try to multitask during a meeting, which ultimately, you know, it's nice to do if you can, you know, be checking your email while you're talking to somebody. But ultimately, it's kind of just, how would you do this in person? You know, would you sit on your phone in an in-person meeting? So not only is it, you know, really honoring to the people that you're on a call with, it also helps you feel like you're getting a lot more out of the meeting. So something that I do, I actually turn notifications off on my computer and I close my email window. Unless I need it for something for the meeting, like I said, have the materials ready. But that just helps my mind kind of shut that part off and really pay attention to what I'm talking about. And the last way to build confidence in your video calls is know that practice makes perfect. So I know not everyone's a fan of being on camera, and with meetings like this, it's pretty non-negotiable right now. So my final advice to you to help you feel confident in meetings is to schedule a practice Zoom call with someone that you trust. I actually, you know, when we were all working from home, I was a little bit anxious about it because I'd never really had to do this, you know? So I had a practice call with my husband and I'm like, join me at this link and we're gonna make sure my computer looks good and my audio sounds good. And this is when I discovered that I needed the computer fan to go away. So I ordered that laptop stand. So anything like that you can do, practice makes perfect. It doesn't just apply to video calls. So those are my tips for improving confidence in your virtual meetings. I hope they were helpful. I hope you heard something new. I know that, you know, video call tips are kind of being done pretty consistently. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to address 2 FAQs real quick before I hand this off to Tim. So yeah, if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in there. In the meantime, 2 FAQs that I have heard when just like kind of doing research or learning skills for myself. Number 1, why do I have to be on camera? Because I know that's like, it's kind of nerve-wracking. But ultimately, you know, just like how in-person relationships are the best way to develop that, obviously videos are only kind of option right now. It also, I feel like, helps you stay engaged with that person, maybe more so than a video would, or than a regular phone call would right now. And the second one, and this has happened to me, I'm sure it's happened to you. What do I do if my kids or my pets interrupt a call? Just know, like I said before with the clothing thing, people have been so forgiving and understanding right now as worlds are colliding in a different way. So know that it probably bothers you more than it bothers them, like the other people on your call. But, you know, it's like that video of that BBC guy whose kid comes running in the room and everyone suddenly scrambles. And what was probably very stressful for him was like a fun, light moment for the people watching. So just, I mean, do what you have to do. Worlds are colliding in an unusual way right now, but just know that if things go wrong, it's not as serious as it is. So that is what I had prepared. And I think Tim is going to come take, oh wait, here we go. Best tips for virtual backgrounds. Oh, portable green screens. So I know Zoom lets you do those really fun backgrounds. I would just say my best tips for virtual backgrounds are just to use them. I would say use them strategically. For a while, I had a vacation picture on the back of mine, and it was something that I would use for our team calls in the mornings, but it might not be something that I turn on like a client meeting later in the day. So yes, they are pretty fun, and I feel like we all miss vacations right now, and if that's our only outlet right now, I'd say do it, but do it appropriately. Awesome. That's a great question, Angie. Alrighty. Well, hope you guys learned something new today. Tim is going to come take over. Yeah, I'll go ahead and we will switch it over to him real quick. There we go.
Good morning. Hey, I will just say I wildly respect every person that's on this call. For you to face the digital anxiety, to hop on a call and say, no, it's important for me to connect with people. It's important for me to continue to grow. And so I want you to know you are not alone. As I'm even coming up here, and we're trying to kind of use our office a little bit as a studio, and we're switching in between people. That digital anxiety exists for everybody. And so hopefully that's gone away a little bit from when you first started, but I wildly respect you guys. I want to introduce myself. My name is Tim Fruits, and I am the lead creative at Malibu Creative. A lot of times people ask me this question, hey, what do you do? And the short answer to that is we are a company that tells stories. We use platforms like video and web design and social media to broadcast those stories. And as a lead creative, I get to work with leaders and business owners who are moving heaven and earth to make the world better. And I get to help them identify their story, identify why they do what they do and the vision that they have moving forward, and connect that with people who need to hear it. I love what we do. And if we're doing it right, then we get to know people's visions and their dreams for the future, as well as they have it for their own company. And so we love to partner with visions. It's really one of those things that your story changes everything. I'll never forget, like right now we're in a crazy polarizing world, and you're like, no, don't talk about, I'm not going to talk about politics. It's okay. But we're in a polarizing world where everybody's opinions are so strong. But if we sit down with one another and you get in a room with somebody who thinks differently, and you ask them why they think differently, and you start to hear their experiences, and you start to hear why they came to what they came, and they listen to your story, all of a sudden grace and this understanding of humanity plays in, where our opinions kind of start to fade away as the most important overarching truth, and people become important again. And so that's what we get to do as a company. We get to tell stories and bring humanity to what people are doing and why they're doing it. And I love it. I've probably talked about our company and have said statements like you just heard thousands of times to hundreds of people, or hundreds of times to thousands of people over the last 12 years. And today we want to just kind of go over for a few minutes why I'm here. I'm going to start my stopwatch so I know that I respect time. But for a few minutes while we're here, I just want to talk about your introduction, your elevator pitch, as they used to call it, when we got in elevators with people and weren't offended by somebody walking into the elevator with us. But today's a little different. We're going to buildings a little bit less. We're getting in elevators a little bit less, but it's still the idea of your introduction, your first impression. And so we want to talk about that today. I want to talk about what makes up a good first impression and what makes up that good introduction. As we're doing that, I just want to, Helen did a great job talking about the video. And so I'm really thankful. I got to say, as I'm watching, your smiles are like fuel to people. And we call it your resting face. So as you're like interacting, your head nods and your smiles, it's like, it is like the greatest compliment you can give to somebody who's speaking. So for those of you who are engaged and offering those, I just want to say thanks. So we are in a place where we have to stay 6 feet away from people. We kind of cover our mouth. The world's fairly different than it was in 2019 when we were all sitting, enjoying breakfast together in some of the nicest hotels and venues in our city, and really kind of getting to hear elbow to elbow from one another. And so TJ is going to talk in a few minutes about how to maximize the virtual opportunities that we have. And I'm excited to hear him. But what we want to talk about now is just kind of how to introduce yourself, how to make an effective introduction. In 2018, the New York Times reported that new data shows that we have 27 seconds to make a good first impression. We have 27 seconds. And I would say that first impression should be your smile. It should be your eyes. It should be engaging. But what we want to do is have a conversation. We want to share a little bit about us and find out a little bit about other people. In the book, Clarity Wins, Steve Woodruff says, stories connect us on a human level that factual statements and logical arguments cannot possibly match. And so if you can see where I'm going with this, in your introduction, I'm hoping that we move to a storytelling introduction where we can connect people with the why of what we do versus just what we do. So let's just talk about what a typical example of a current introduction may look like. You may meet somebody, maybe they're a handyman or a repair guy, and this question pops up. Maybe you're an HVAC repair guy. You do heat and air, and this question pops up. What do you do? So what do you do? You've heard that question so many times. So what do you do? It usually comes right after what your name is or whatever. And if you're an HVAC guy, you may be in residential repair, maybe commercial repair, but you may say, I work for Smith HVAC and I'm a repair person, which is a very factual statement. And probably if we're caught off guard and not prepared for these introduction opportunities, we probably just answer the question that's been asked. What do you do? Well, I'm in digital marketing and we make videos. It's a very factual statement on what we do, but it doesn't help connect people with a conversation. Another example would be a financial advisor. And we've all seen their prepared pitches sometimes. You've watched those commercials on TV where you only have 30 seconds to pitch yourself. And you hear about this financial advisor and he says, I'm John Smith and I've helped millions of people save millions of dollars with my amazing team and our technology. And it's great. He's told you what he's done. He's kind of told you his experience. But again, he hasn't connected with you on an emotional or a relational level. You may feel like, man, I want to save some money like those other people have saved some money. But it's just not a conversational introduction. And so what we want to start today is we want to start with the idea that when somebody asks you, hey, what do you do? They're doing the only thing they know how. They're using the only words they know to start up a conversation with you. And so while you do want to answer their conversation, what you don't want to do is just answer it factually. You want to recognize, hey, this is an opportunity to start a conversation and be engaging. And so they're starting a conversation the only way they know how. And so our response should be designed to engage in that conversation rather than just answer the question. This morning I want to use story brand. It's a topic that Donald Miller. It's a brand format that Donald Miller created. It's not something we created. There's lots. What's great about this format is if you're into it, there are tons of TED Talks, podcasts. There's books out there where you guys can dive deeper. But just in a few minutes, I want to talk about how to use this platform of storytelling for your introduction. And so the overall premise is real simple. It says, when we introduce ourselves, most often when you answer that question, so what do you do? We talk about us. What do we do? But what we want to do with the story brand format is we want to recognize that when we're talking about what we do professionally, what we want to do is talk about our customer. We're not the hero in our story. The customers we serve are, the people we serve are. And what they do matters. And so what we get to be is the guide in a story. We get to advise them and help them come to a profitable or beneficial outcome. But we want to talk less about us and more about them. So say this with me, even if you're in a room and you're muted by yourself, just say it with me. It's not all about me.
It's not all about me.
That's good. They did it here. That was fun. It's not all about you. The question is literally, what do you do? And then the answer is, it's not all about you. It's about your customer. The overall premise is pretty simple. You don't focus on you. You focus on your client. You focus on your customer. In the example of the financial advisor, I wrote down a little pitch that could be different. So in the original one, it was, hi, I'm John Smith, and I've helped millions of people save millions of dollars with my amazing team and technology. And that's the old way. It's all about John Smith. With this new format, John's pitch may sound much different and much more inspiring. What he might say is, my name is John Smith and I'm a financial advisor. I get to come along people who are working long hours and oftentimes multiple jobs so that they can provide safety and security for their families. My role is to help them identify how they can best protect and invest what they've earned to provide for their families for years to come. I love what I do. What we've done now is told the story of why he does what he does, what motivates him. The idea of, yeah, I help people take money and invest it in the future is kind of assumed in the financial advisor. But when he says, hey, I help people who work hard. I help people who sometimes have made sacrifices, sometimes are working multiple jobs to provide security for their family. It's making that person, that person that he works with, the hero rather than himself. Rather than saying, I've helped, you'll have an opportunity in the conversation that you're building to talk about how good you do what you do, to talk about the clients that you work with. But in your introduction to beginning a conversation, we just want to focus on we want to focus on the hero of your story, your clients. And we really want to say what we get to do is help them succeed with their long-term plans. And so it's a totally different, emotionally engaging storytelling way to do an introduction. I do want to apologize if you're a financial advisor and I totally chopped your industry and like what you do and you're offended right now, I apologize. I am not a financial advisor. I have friends that are financial advisors, but I apologize if I have stepped on your toes. That's just an example of how this transition can go. Here's a hesitation that most people have in crafting an introduction or even thinking about marketing. And if this is you, you can even just raise your hand. People hesitate to talk about themselves. And the number one thing in marketing is like, I know I need to market, I know I need to, but I hate talking about myself. And so this idea of making your customer, your people you serve, the hero, fixes that problem completely. You get to say a little bit about myself. My name is John Smith and I'm a financial advisor. Or my name is Tim Fruits and I'm in digital marketing. But then I get to tell you about the people I work with. I get to tell you about why I do what I do. And it's so much more engaging, more comfortable, I feel like. So it really eliminates that number one excuse that people don't get into marketing for themselves is they don't like to brag. You don't need to brag. Brag on the people you serve versus what you do. So let's break this structure down so that you can do it. And in just a few minutes, we're going to have breakout rooms and you're actually going to get to share your introduction. Maybe you have one that you love or you're using this format to kind of recraft that. But in your notes, you can kind of write these questions down, write this format down so that you can be thinking about your introduction because you're going to have an opportunity to network here in just a moment. What you want to do is you want to start by introducing yourself and just a quick introduction to your job. You don't want to leave out the opportunity for people to know what you do. So I would say I'm Tim Fruits and I'm in digital marketing. Typically, that's where we would stop. Typically, we'd say, my name is John Smith and I'm a financial advisor. But what we want to do is just begin there. Don't stop there. Now connect people with the why in what you do. So the first thing you're going to do is identify your name and explain in real short what you do. The next four things you're going to do is you're going to identify who you help. Who's the hero in your story? We all do different things. You may sell cosmetics. You may serve the business community. You may be a lawyer. Whatever you do, we're all in different things. So identify who you help. The next thing you want to do is explain their typical situation. Explain the predicament that people are often in. Maybe you're a home builder and you're saying, I help people build the house of their dreams. You want to explain, I help people who are looking for something great, build the house of their dreams. You want to explain where they're typically at. Then you want to explain how you guide that person. You want to explain the guiding portion of it, and then you want to explain the best outcome. What is the best outcome when they experience you? Remember, the customer is the hero, so stay focused on them. Don't go back to your bragging ways. If you do this right, I promise there's a long conversation to come. You'll get off that elevator, you'll get out of that call, and you guys will have a great opportunity to have a longer conversation. So as you guys get into your breakouts, there's the questions you're asking is, who's my customer? What is the situation they're in? How do I guide them? And what's the best possible outcome? Let's go back to that HVAC repair guy. His original pitch is, I work for Smith HVAC and I'm a repair person. I've talked with a lot of heat and air guys, and what's interesting is they help people on their worst days. They walk into situations where people are angry and mad and hot because on a 105-degree July day in Wichita, when your HVAC goes out and it's been 20 hours since they've been able to get out there, you're a little bit miserable. And so rather than just saying I work for Smith HVAC and I'm a repair person, I might work through like, who is it that you're helping? I might ask them the question, who is it that you're helping? They say, well, I'm helping people in their home. What's the situation they're in? Well, they're hot, they're angry, they're mad. It's kind of the worst day of the week. It's the worst day of their year in some cases. How do you guide them? I repair it. What's the best possible outcome? When we fix the problem, they're happy. And here's a bonus question, number 5. How does that make you feel? Well, I love it. I walk away knowing I made a difference. So if we put that all together, it might sound something like this. My name is Eric from Smith Heat and Air. I get to help people on their worst day when their air conditioner breaks down and when their air conditioner breaks down and help them find comfort and get their families to a safe place to sleep. It's hard work, but the smile at the end of the day is totally worth it. It's a super engaging storytelling introduction. So one last tip, don't use industry terms that other people may not understand, like HVAC. A lot of people don't know what HVAC is. It's heat and air. I work on air conditioners. If it was me, I might tell you If I told you I was going to shoot B-roll in C-Log on an R5, you would not understand what I'm talking about unless you were in the video industry. It would make total sense if you're in the video industry, but it would disconnect you if that's not something you do every day. And so I want you guys to know we are here to help you. I want to give you my cell phone number. My name is Tim Fruits, and my cell phone number is 918-402-4892. If you need help crafting your story, if you need help connecting, we would love to help you. You guys can just reach out to me via text. I'll help you. If I'm not in a meeting, I'll get back with you right away. So those questions one more time as you prepare for your breakout groups. Who's your customer? What's the situation they're in? How do you guide them? And what's the best possible outcome? And the bonus question number 5, how does that make you feel?
Looks like that worked really well.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull. It's so weird. Oh, I was gonna. Jan, are you gonna go to your breakout room? You're muted.
Okay. I wasn't going to, but I can. I was
Yeah.
just gonna work for a little while till they came back.
Okay, it would be nice because there's only one person in there now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Do you need me to go into one or?
I think it'll be okay.
Okay, then I'm going to step away for just a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, I just texted you. Are you in Malibu able to come back into the main one? I can't call you back in, just y'all.
Oh, just us? Okay, I can tell them to leave the room too. I can press leave room.
Okay, yeah, if you guys can just come back to the main one, because I need to tell them that they'll have to do their last portion a little shorter.
Sort of. Okay, all right, I'll let them know.
Okay, thanks, bye. Hey, sorry, I wish it didn't make me put you in a breakout room, but it did. I don't know.
There you go.
No, no worries at all. It was good to be.
We were just chatting.
It was just y'all, right? I made sure to put it where it was just y'all. So you
just tell us what you need.
a little close on time, but as long as you guys are done by 9:28, I can do my couple of closing things. So I might go ahead and call them back. It's just a little shorter than what we were doing, but it's been 6 minutes. I think
Okay, yeah, I'll cut it short. I'll make it work.
Okay, just talk fast but clear.
Absolutely, sounds great.
Okay, I'm gonna call him back.
Good job.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm so
Justin, I just, it's weird because you're smiling right here at me, but then you're standing right there.
Same shirt too.
Is that your iron shirt, TJ? Did you grace us with that honor?
So I actually leave that one in the home office because it's my emergency shirt. So this is but this is freshly ironed for this morning. Gotta be ready to go.
Love it. One thing that's nice about these being in the morning. We're starting to get people back.
Yeah, I gave them all 60 seconds, so.
Can you have that survey link ready to post or have Tim post it? Yeah. Tim could probably do it.
TJ, I think we're good to go when you are.
We're good to go? Perfect. So I'm going to wrap us up here. The last thing I really want to hit and want to talk about is how to maximize virtual relationships. So I kind of straddle this weird line of like, I'm an extrovert and an introvert. Like I'm right in between both of those. And so first this felt awesome. Like the stay-at-home order was great. It was like a snow day for me. I was like, oh man, I don't have to go meet with people. I get to wear sweatpants. Like it's going to be great. And now it's, we're this far in and I begin to feel like, oh my gosh, like I need to see people. Like I'll go to coffee with anybody. Like I just need to go do something. Like I cannot stay in my house anymore. And so it's this weird push and pull. And partially because I just miss that relational connection. I miss getting to hear people's stories. I miss getting to hear people celebrating and winning and how they're growing their business or what they're doing or what their families are doing. Like I love those stories. And so how do you take that offline experience and maximize it into an online experience? Like how do you do that as best as possible? And so we've got a couple of tips that I just think are important. So one of those is like the little things of changing your name when you're in a Zoom call or when you're in a GoToMeeting thing that says who you are and where you work. So somebody knows quickly who you are. Because one of the challenges is we don't recognize each other in different contexts. Some of us have a harder time with that than others. My kids, all of a sudden I took my glasses off. I got contacts because I was so tired of my mask fogging my glasses. And my kids are like, Dad, you look better with glasses on. I'm like, well, thanks guys, appreciate that. But all right, you're probably right. Because it helps to give some context for who I am. And the same thing with like those little cues of your name helps to remind people. It's like, oh, that's who that is. That's what they do. So, we miss those kinds of things. And so finding ways to leverage those kinds of opportunities by using the little tips like changing your name. One of them is dusting off your LinkedIn and your Facebook. Most of us, before this all happened, LinkedIn and Facebook, that was noise, that was stuff in the background that we didn't really pay attention to. But the truth is LinkedIn and Facebook have kind of become your front porch. They've become a way for people to connect with you, to get to know who you are and what you're doing. So one of those is if you haven't updated your headshot, especially if it's been, anything more than about 8 to 12 months, you need a new headshot. It just helps remind people of who you are. If you change your appearance drastically, if you go to no glasses, you need to update your headshot so that people know who you are, what you look like, that it makes sense, that it looks like you. So dusting those off. And then even right now, like if you have a chance, pop open an extra window real quick and navigate over to LinkedIn and look at your messages. When was the last time you sent somebody a direct message? When was the last time you reached out to somebody and said, hey, I saw this post that you had. I saw this thing that you're doing. I saw this thing your business is doing. Congratulations. What a cool opportunity. I was commenting just yesterday to my friend John Paul, who's with Pinnacle Realty Group, and they just broke out on their own as a brokerage of their own now. So they're an independent brokerage, which is awesome. Like that's a cool experience for them to have. And I want to celebrate that with him, especially because I don't get to bump into him anymore. I don't see him at 1 Million Cups. I don't see him at Leslie's coffee shop anymore. And so if I don't take the time to reach out, we won't ever get to connect. And so the challenge too is like, maybe you don't have anything to reach out about. Well, LinkedIn often prompts you of like, hey, so-and-so's been in this role for 2 years now. So-and-so's been with this company for 7 years now. And it's a great little way to reach out and to connect. So this kind of event is a great way to do this. We had an event similar to this with Chavez and the Business Maximizer this last week. I had at least 2 different people send me messages afterwards following up. One of them was on a comment that I said, and one of them was just wanting to connect and learn more about who we are and see if there may be a way for us to do business together. Finding ways just to reach out to people. One of the things we often deal with is we're a little self-conscious. Like I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to push too much. I don't want to interrupt somebody. It's just not that big a deal. I'll talk to them later. The truth is when you're doing that, you're missing an opportunity to connect. You're missing an opportunity to connect. And partially we need to have thick skin. So if somebody doesn't respond right away, there's a good chance they're busy. There's a good chance things are going on. Facebook's one of those great ways to do that, but it always tells you like, oh, Rebecca read my message, but she hasn't responded to me. What happened? There's a chance that Rebecca read your message sitting at a stoplight. Like give her the benefit of the doubt. And maybe she got busy and things happened and she forgot to respond. So there's no reason not to reach out again, but leaning into finding ways to connect. So for us, there's also some ways to do this offline. The last thing I would say is, we had a small event here at the office where we got to host part of the Global Leadership Summit. We were allowed up to 10 people in our space. And so we have a team of 5. And so we invited 5 other people to come join us. We initially got 3 no's, 3 people who said like, hey, I'd love to come, but I can't because of all these different reasons. And so what we did is we turned around and we took a book from one of the speakers. We packaged it up along with some snacks that we were going to have. And we sent it to those folks who couldn't come. And said, hey, we know you couldn't make it and join us. So here, we just wanted to share a little taste of what this was going to be like. It's a way to connect. It's a way to extend that relationship. And so that's really what I would encourage you to do is think about ways to extend relationships. Think about ways to bridge those gaps that you can find ways of commonality, ways to connect. The last thing I'd leave you with is when you post something on Facebook, you gotta post periodically, but you've also got to respond in the comments. And so my big challenge for you this week is to go at least 3 comments deep with somebody on a Facebook post. It doesn't have to be yours. It can be somebody else's, but I need to jump in there and see Andrew's post on Facebook. And then I need to respond to Andrew and say, oh, that sounds awesome. I've always, he got to go to this awesome restaurant. He got takeout from, let's say it's Meddy's because it's delicious. So he gets takeout from Meddy's. And he's like, oh man, this was the best. And I'm like, oh, I haven't actually had the meat pies from Meddy's in a while. Which one was your favorite? And then responding back and forth, going at least 3 deep in the comments with somebody this week will allow you to extend out that relationship and to make those connections to help build some of that commonality. If we can't gather together, we can learn how to use this virtual environment to have relationships because virtual relationships are real relationships. That's important for us to all remember. So again, I hope all this has been helpful. Again, the goal for all of this is to move away from just reacting, from dealing with the crisis of like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do, to adapting to the reality. And if things change dramatically, if all of a sudden the virus disappears in October and everything goes back to normal, we all get to go back to gathering together. That's great. And you know what we'll do? We'll adapt again. We'll pivot into this new reality. But if it doesn't, we need to be ready to work and to operate in this new space. So I would ask of you, if you get a chance, there's a survey in the comments there Tim just posted. If you jump in there, just give us some feedback. It's really helpful for us to learn where we're connecting, what makes sense, what stood out to you, and where we could improve. So I want to thank you so much. Partially who you are, the folks that are leading and serving and connecting and growing our community are part of the reason why we chose to be here. It's part of the reason why our family has planted our flag and said, this is our home. And so I just want to thank you so much. I thank the Chamber for inviting us. We just really appreciate getting a chance to connect.
Thanks so much, TJ. And thank you all for being a part of this. I hope you enjoyed the breakout rooms. I know it might have been nice to have a little more time, especially really diving into you getting to share about who you are and what you do, but I hope it's really beneficial to you in any future virtual settings that you'll be a part of, whether with the Chamber or another great program that you'll participate in. So thank you again to the Malibu team, Holland, Tim, and TJ for sharing your insight with us today. It was a lot of fun, and thanks for also sharing your stories and letting Holland share your stories, TJ. And thank you again to our presenting sponsor, Golden Plains Credit Union, and our Showcase Biz sponsor, Burnell's Fine Jewelry and Design. I hope you all have a great day. And again, take these tips and run with them, and we'll see you on a future call. Bye, everyone.